Alright, now that you suffered through your long division, we're going to show you a faster way. It's called synthetic division. The reason that we have to have two methods is because long division will work every time. Synthetic division, it won't work every time. It will only work when we have certain conditions. Okay, so here's the first one. We must be dividing by a binomial. So an example of that. Is if we have x plus 5. Okay, knowing the second condition, so put that in there. The lead term must have a coefficient of 1. So that means it has to be 1x. So another example would be x minus 3. Okay, so two great examples of when I can, and this is when I'm dividing by that. Dividing by it. So let's see how it works. So the first thing I have to check is, can I use synthetic division? I have a binomial, x plus 2, the lead coefficient is 1. Alright, so we can do this. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to focus first on what we're dividing by. We're going to put a backwards L, and we're going to use the opposite of what we have. If I have x plus 2, I'm using minus 2. I'm going to pull all the coefficients out. So I have 1, 5, and 6. So 1, 5, and 6. I'm going to draw a big line down here and a plus sign. So here's the process every single time. Okay, we're going to use the opposite of the binomial. We're going to pull out our coefficients and put them in order. X squared, x, no x's. Bring down your first one. 1. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. 5 plus negative 2 is 3. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. 6 plus negative 6 is 0. I'm going to use one less than the degree that I had. So that would be x to the first power plus 3. This would be my remainder. Okay, no remainder. So my division is x plus 3. Final answer when I divide. Pretty slick, right? Let's try it again. So first thing is check. Make sure I have a binomial, two terms, lead coefficient of 1. Backwards L, I'm going to use 6. Coefficients in order. 2, negative 3. Negative 1, and negative 2. I'm going to be adding all this stuff. So I drop the first one, I get 2. I have 6 times 2 is 12. Negative 3 plus 12 is 9. 6 times 9 is 54. Negative 1 plus 54 is 53. It's going to give us 318, right? 30, and 3 times 6 is 18, so 318. Negative 2 plus 318 is 316. Remember, our key is we're going to start with one less. I had x to the third power, so I'm going to start with x squared plus 9x plus 53, remainder 316. Final answer. Alright, next item. We're still using synthetic division. I have a binomial, lead coefficient is 1. Here's what we're going to have to deal with. I go from x to the third to x to the first. So first step is the same. Negative 4. Always going to use opposite here. I'm going to use my coefficients. I have 1. I have negative 13. And I have 12. Now you notice I left a big space in here. How many x squareds do I have? Right? So what would be in here? Plus 0x squared. So I have to use 0. I need a placeholder because of the way that we fill in our answer. We'd also have to do this in long division. I sheltered you so far from that, we didn't have to do that. But now when you see that it goes from the degree of 3 and to 1, we have to fill in a space for 2, and that space is going to be held by 0. Process is the same, we just have one extra step. We want to make sure everything gets filled. Third, second, first, 0. Bring down the first once we get it. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. 0 plus negative 4 is negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. Negative 13 plus 16 is 3. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12, and we get a solution of 0 on the end. I started with the third power, so I'm going to start with one less. X squared minus 4x to the first plus 3, remainder of 0, which means I don't need that at all. Final answer. Alright. Do we have anything missing this time? I have x squared, x to the first, and no x's. So we're good to go. I have a binomial, so we're going to use synthetic division again. using negative 1, 2, 6, 7. We're going to add these once we get everything going. Drop the first one. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. 6 plus negative 2 is 4. Negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. And 7 plus negative 4 is 3. Started with x to the second power, so we'll use x to the first plus 4, remainder 3. Alright, I have binomial. And by now you should be getting the pattern, so make sure once we get it set up, you can go ahead and pause the video and then try it. Coefficient is 1. I have 1. I have 4. Careful, 0 and 6. Why 0? Right in here we should see 0x to the first power. So here's my 0 coefficient. Alright, we're set up. Go ahead and pause and try it. Alright, drop the 1, negative 3, get 1, get negative 3, I get negative 3 when I add, and I get 9, add the 9 to get 15. I have x to the second power plus 1x minus 3, remainder of 15. That is synthetic division, my friend. Alright, any questions, make sure you ask. If you're watching this at home, write down your questions right now so you don't forget them. If you're watching it at school, come see me with your questions.